jurors are sitting 6 feet apart and 2 rows apart in courtrooms. Now that means your back is to those jurors, and that you don't get to see their reactions. And that's part of what a trial attorney does. Is this jury buying what this witness is saying? Sometimes you can read that from their expressions. You can see them, whether or not they check out, they just lean back, they stare in another direction, fold their arms. They've had enough of this witness. They don't believe him, or they believe him so much that, listen, this is ridiculous. Why should I have to listen to this? I've already decided in favor of that side. You don't get to see that. So I don't know that we can really compare our right to have an open trial, certainly for the public, but also for attorneys to determine credibility without being in person.
Joe, this part about the judicial robes, I need to just talk to you about that real fast, because in my experience with Zoom post-pandemic, I've seen tremendous levels of relaxation in terms of the way the attorneys are approaching the court. First of all, the defendants themselves, you see all manner of craziness recorded on YouTube, where there's pictures of dogs and they don't wear shirts, and they're in their bathtub and all kinds of crazy stuff. But I've noticed a tremendous amount of informality among attorneys, not so much in the way that they address the court or conduct their business, but the way they're dressed. In fact, in my own case, I don't really feel obligated to wear a tie anymore when I'm appearing on Zoom, because I'm doing it from my own home. And no one has said anything to me about it, with the exception of one judge. So I think that the amendment to Rule 1:2-1D about robes is to let it be clear that the formality, the dignity, the decorum, the austerity associated with an American courtroom has to continue, even though the event is being conducted remotely through some type of video. And this is why judges are required to wear judicial robes. Do you have any thoughts on that? Again, this is just my own theory.
Bob, there are no dress codes for attorneys in court other than the widely understood code that you must dress respectfully to show the respect for the court and the seriousness of the proceedings in which you're appearing. Now, I see many attorneys on Zoom. They're in a white dress shirt and a tie, but maybe they're not wearing a suit coat jacket. I consider that respectful, especially when it's just a status conference or a discovery conference, something like that. However, there is one judge I know that I appear in front of him in 2 courts, and he chides lawyers who do not wear a suit coat jacket and says it's disrespectful to the court not to wear a suit coat jacket. I disagree with that. Now, I do think you should not have a cat filter on and appear as a cat in front of the judge. You should not pull a Jeffrey Toobin, understanding that your camera may still be on you. But if you
really want to use the word pull in association with Jeffrey Toobin, do you want to retract that thing?
Well, for those of you who
and by the way, as far as cats are concerned, I agree with you, but are there any other animals that would be appropriate?
And what I did appreciate the most about that is how absolutely embarrassed he was that he was appearing as a cat, because he was in his 70s. He didn't know how to get rid of the cat filter. God knows I wouldn't know how to get rid of a cat filter if I had kids running around the house and they put that on. But I thought it would have been great if the judge had just proceeded with it. And I love when he finally said, "Judge, I am not a cat," as if he thought he was actually speaking to a cat.
I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Anyway, my belief is, Bob, that if you're dressed respectfully, I think a white shirt and tie, a dress shirt and a tie is respectful. But given my experiences with this one judge and seeing him cue other attorneys, I always wear a jacket now.
Joe, I think you really, whoever this judge is, you should give him some legal advice and tell it from me. He should not be commenting on the clothing worn by counsel. Okay, it demonstrates a level of bias. If he wants to talk to them privately, off the record, something like that, okay. But he should not be making an issue of that. It demonstrates bias and it's inappropriate. Okay, just a word to the wise. All right. Let's move on to the amendment to Rule 1:30-4, and this is really.